And hello, everybody. It's Monday night, March 24th. You're live with Sherry Talk Radio. Have any questions for the show, you can send them to SherryTalkRadio@yahoo.com. It's going to be a quiet night, I have a feeling. Basically, it's just been a real quiet week, since last week even. It's just like the Lord had just, sometimes you feel the brakes going on and He just kind of has you sit and hold and not do anything. And that's pretty much what's been going on. It's almost like we're at a standstill. And He's not telling me anything, and I can't even describe it. It's not like He's not telling me anything, it's just that it's just a standstill period. I turned this messenger on, and then people bug me, and I can't get on with the show because I'm being aggravated by the messenger, which is usually why I don't even turn it on. But I tried to for the show in case there's any problems with the audio. This is the Lord's night, I speak what He wants me to speak, not what people IM me to speak. Sometimes it's good info, and I can add that into whatever it is I'm talking about, but usually I just try to give this show to Him and tell Him to lead me what is it He wants me to talk about. And so far, the only last couple of days, He's given me, put a few thoughts on my heart and mind, and not what you'd expect. Certainly not what you'd expect. Just going back over and talking about how they've infiltrated our society, because this is something they've been doing since the early days, folks. If you have comments, things like that, send me an email, folks. Don't try to IM me during a show. Just send me an email. I try to keep the INs open just to be alerted if the sound should go down or off or having problems, technical difficulties. Not for conversation. I don't want conversations during the show. And of course it comes in handy. I remember a couple of years ago doing Jeff Rentz's show, and if I didn't have IMs to talk to my friends during the interview, I'd have been bored to death. Some of these people that set them up as radio hosts, internet radio hosts, and you talk 5 minutes and go on 15-minute commercial breaks. It's almost ridiculous. You don't even get to talk. And you don't know what's going to be that kind of an interview until you start one. And so you never know what you're going to do. I know lately, I just haven't given a lot of interviews. Now I know why. I just don't feel led to give them. When I got the X-Zone interview, I figured, well, he's another paranormal guy in Canada. Didn't really feel one way from the Lord or not. So I went ahead and did it. I know I've gotten interviews from college campuses around the world, and I just have not done those. I'm not going to be a feeding frenzy for kids. It's hard to tell if they're serious or not, if they really want information or they just want to bash somebody and be the next Larry King or somebody. Some people just think that they're legends in their own mind, like this Rob McConnell over at X-Zone. You see it all the time at Coast to Coast. George Norrie, Art Bell, they're just Illuminati shills set up so that if somebody does come on with credible info, they can just discredit them and laugh and mock at them. What they do like to do is get their own people on the shows to spread disinfo. I get emails all the time from people asking me about different people. And the Lord has just never led me to read particular people's info on the internet. Zechariah Sitchin, I've never liked him. The Lord's never led me to him. Kind of set himself up as a self-proclaimed Suru reading Sumerian text. And sure enough, in Arizona's Wilder's video with Dave Icke, she talks about how she has seen him at satanic ritual meetings. Another one is Steve Greer and Richard Boylan. And I know James Bartley, and I posted a lot of his articles on my website this week, thewatcherfiles.com. And he's convinced himself that they're just two reptilians in human bodies spreading disinfo. And of course, I've always known Boylan has, and me and Boylan have gone back and forth over the years. They really don't like to get too close. Not to me. They usually like to keep their distance. This exopolitics guy, I can't even remember his name that runs the Exopolitics. He comes up with a lot of good info, essays and articles at times, but he's been a cheerleader for bringing aliens to Earth and the guys that aliens are our friends. And so all these people purely looking at things, it's like going to Satan and getting information from Satan. Why would we want to do that? You know, why would we want to go to Satan for info? I go to the Lord. And amazingly, some of you just have never learned to do that, because as I was looking over James Bartley's information, he's not one to claim that he's a believer in the Most High, or even the least bit interested in any way in any kind of religion or just relationship. I don't like religion either, but I do promote relationship with the Lord, the Most High. And we both come up with information, the same information coming from totally two different angles. And so I find that amazing, that we have a lot of the same information. So that's why I posted a lot of his articles on my website with a little comment disclaimer at the top of them, because the information is strikingly familiar. And we both come at it from two different directions. And I've only come at it from the Lord. And he's come through it from, interviewing abductees, talking to abductees, years of research dealing with the UFO community. I know that's one community I've never even gone near. The Lord just hasn't wanted me near any of that. I knew it was infiltrated from agents anyway. And James Bartley pretty much exposes it pretty well, too. His thoughts on the whole UFO community, from the agents online, such as Boyland and Green, or Steve Greer, to just the local chapters, and how that they control the information and try to discredit people with any real information and try to sweep it all under the rug and keep lids on it. They're not here to help folks. They're here to put a lid on things. It's back in the 50s and 60s when the United States Air Force began Project Blue Book. And I believe Blue Book was a result of the Roswell crash in 47, 48. I'm not sure how long afterwards it came out. But Project Blue Book was supposedly where the United States government and the Air Force was going to research the supposed UFO phenomenon at the time. It's their own words. They never believed it existed, and they always fought against it. And so they would want people to send their films and their clips and their stories and their experiences to them. And they would collect it in supposedly this Project Blue Book to try to disseminate the information, dissect it amongst themselves. Unbeknownst to the public, at the same time, they actually had Project Yellow Book running parallel to the Blue Book. And Project Yellow Book was the real project that was being run at that time, studying UFOs and aliens. So Project Blue Book was just for public consumption. And I know I've heard from people that won't even send their video clips and things to the government because they don't get them back, or they get them back and they've been tainted. People get sick of sending in a UFO clip and then having it sent back and told it's a hot air balloon, and so it's just turned into a big farce. And of course you don't realize why the government could be so outright stupid. Is it intentional or unintentional? Are they really unintentionally stupid? But their whole treaty with the aliens, back even when Eisenhower was president, was that the government would deny their existence. And so it's always been official policy of the United States government to deny the existence of aliens. And so that's why, to so many of us with our eyes wide open, the government appears so stupid. Because they intentionally are. They have signed agreements stating they will deny the existence of aliens. And so that's pretty much why you reach so many dead blocks and hurdles when it comes to any kind of disclosure from the government. On the other hand, YouTube, one of probably the best things that's happened to the internet, and one of the most comical, I think, is because you can go to youtube.com, and I have these links at even my YouTube page is at the Watcher Files, or SherryTalkRadio, or Sherry Shriner. If you go to the Watcher Files, youtube.com/the Watcher Files, I have links on there of President Bush giving speeches, and standing behind him are gray aliens in the windows of the White House. Another one with George Bush Sr., and you watch him giving this speech, and his mouth is just moving as a lizard.